Hello everyone. Right now I'm standing next to a field of cattails. The cattail is a type of widely distributed wild plant. You are most likely to find cattails in the swamps or on the marshes or on the river banks. They are great wild food in survival situations, and it's a lot of fun to collect them. So in this video I'm going to talk about how and when to harvest cattails. At the end of the video I'm going to find a spot to cook the flower of the cattails in the wild. Stay tuned. So many parts of the cattail are edible, including its root, stem, the flower, and the pollen. So the first thing I'm going to discuss is the root of the cattail. The root of the cattail is almost like a lotus root. They are all connected to each other. The root system, the rhizome, that's one way for the cattail to reproduce. If you remove the outer part of the root, the inner part is white. I'm not a big fan of the root because it takes a lot of effort to dig out the whole plant. Some people say it's very starchy, but I have never tasted it before. Another thing is that cattail is known for battling against contamination and purifying the water. So the root might absorb some chemicals that are harmful to your health. If you really want to taste the root of the cattail, you better find some cattails grow in pristine area, not the one I found here along the roadside. So another thing I want to talk about is the stem of the cattail. Right now I'm going to find a younger specimen to show you how I get the stem of the cattail. This one may be the right one. Let me first peel off these outer leaves. And after peeling off several leaves, you can hold the stem of the cattail and try to pull it out, like what I'm doing here. Okay, you can see this part is pure white. This white part is very tender, but actually I don't very enjoy it because it has a very slimy texture, and this sliminess doesn't go away even after being fully cooked up. I don't like the sliminess in my hand, I don't like the sliminess in my mouth, so definitely I don't like the stem of the cattail. If you're interested in tasting it, you'd better harvest when it's still young, at the younger stage. So you want to harvest the stem when the stem is still very slimy, like this one. It's very tender, you can see from here. But this one is very fibrous, so it's not good stage to harvest. Not in June. In June it's too old to harvest the stem. But June is the good season to harvest the flower of the cattail. The flower of the cattail matures around this time of the year. There are actually two parts of the flower. The upper part is the male flower. The lower part is the female flower. These two flowers are separated and exposes the cob of the flower. It's a little cob here. So when the male flower turns mature, they become yellowish or brownish, and they spread a lot of pollens, and this pollen can fall on the female flower, on this specimen or on other specimens, and then these female flower will seed. And then when it grows even older, this male flower will disappear, will become very thin, and the female flower will develop and becomes very fluffy. That's the part you will see in the winter. Because it's very fluffy, this part can be used as a fire starter in a survival situation. I would say this is the right stage to harvest the flowers of the cattail. It's still very green and still covered by the husk. If you allow it to grow a little bit older, like this one, the husk has fallen off and you have shades of yellow at the top of the flower. This one is still good, edible. It offers more meat. But when the flower grows even older, when the male flower turns completely yellow, or like that one, completely brown, at that stage, the flower will not be edible. I just accidentally stepped on the male flower of the cattail. So that gives me a chance to show you what the flowers look like. You can see these little flowers are attached to the cup of the cattail. You see that? These little flowers are yellow. So actually, some people like, rubbing off these flowers from the cob. And these flowers can be used as a thickener or as a substitute for cornstarch or flour. So both parts of the flowers are edible, although the male part has more meat to offer. So I usually only collect the male flower and leave the female flower. It's pretty easy to cook the flower of the cattail. You can just throw them into the water, boil it for like 20 minutes, and you can add some butter, add some sugar or salt, depending on your own preference. It has a very interesting taste. So the taste of the cattail flower is almost like a combination of roasted chestnut and corn. It does have a very interesting, unique taste. So if you have never tried cattail flower before, I highly recommend that you give it a try. So the last part I'm going to talk about today is the pollen of the cattail. When the male flower matures, if you flick it, it will generate a lot of pollen. And these pollens are edible. It contains a lot of vitamin C and other nutritious elements. What you do is to find a jar like this and poke the end of the male flower into the jar and give it a good shake. By the way, you don't need to break the whole plant. If you do, you will waste some pollens because you have to shake it, right? So you can just stick the whole plant into the jar and then shake it. The pollen of the cattail is a good substitute for flour. They can be used in making bread, crepe, or pancakes. So yeah, I'm going to collect more cattail flowers and find a place to cook them up. Pretty good.
me see. Okay, maybe this one is too old. Let me see if I can. It's very slimy, so